we defined human success based on how intelligent we are or how powerful and successful we are. Now with AI, we're promising to be, as Sam Altman would say, 5 PhDs in your pocket. What does it mean to be human?
This is Cien Solon, an AI entrepreneur. She's the founder of Launch Lemonade. She's a brilliant young lady. She speaks around the world on exactly how AI is going to shape humanity, the workforce, and what opportunities it can bring for all of us.
If you're not using your brain, it's gonna die. And if you're just letting things do the thinking for you, you're definitely gonna get stupid.
We had different views actually on the power of AI, intelligence and its biases, how it operates, how it learns, and the things we're afraid of in the future.
A male and a female wants to find a job. No matter how better or more experienced the female is, that female won't get accepted. It's just gonna be male. Open ChatGPT or Open Gemini, generate an image of a CEO. I'm 99% sure it's gonna be male. Generate an image of a teacher, pretty sure it's gonna be female.
But honestly, that's a fallacy really, because just paint a picture of how you would like to see the world with AI in it 5 or 10 years from now.
I think that everyone...
Jen, nice to meet you.
Great to meet you. Thanks for having me here. It's a beautiful location.
Thank you. And I'm delighted to be here because you are front and center in this world of AI and AI agents.
You could say that. Yeah, I have been in this space for a while, but even before ChatGPT came out, I was already delivering AI solutions, whether that was, classified as big data or machine learning. I led teams that delivered AI solutions in the products that we were building.
Fantastic. What sort of businesses were you working for?
Financial services, FinTech, like earliest adopters of AI, really, where you would use a lot of data and quick decisioning tools to ascertain if an applicant is good or bad, or how much credit would you issue based, like you make instant decisions at the back end when you make an application for a bank or a loan.
Yes.
AI is behind that. So yeah, I've delivered solutions like that with a big team and a big budget before.
Fantastic. And set you up perfectly for a world of GPT and the future of AI.
For sure. It did set me up. The fact that I worked with a technical team, but also I was in between the technical team and the business. So I was able to really develop my understanding of the benefits, but in a way that the business understood. And it wasn't too technical.
Yes. So now you've launched your business, Launch Lemonade.
Launch Lemonade, yes. The Canva for AI agents.
Cool. Good. How's it going?
Good. It depends on the day that you ask me, but I bootstrapped the company for the past year. And so we received no funding at all, and we built it from $0. And now we have over 4,000 people on board in the platform. We've been seen in over 150 countries as well. So we're getting traffic just at the back of me posting on LinkedIn and TikTok. So not bad. I mean, it's
Brilliant.
It could be great. It could be better, but
It's a fantastic achievement.
Thank you.
Yeah, well done. And so we got chatting the other night, didn't we? And I was like, we have to meet quickly. This is exactly the type of conversation and the headspace I've been in, which is you started talking about the impact of AI agents. And you spend a lot of time thinking about this kind of philosophically around what the world's going to look like post them.
for sure.
I suppose a great place to start maybe is what exactly, from your perspective, is an AI agent and what impact is it having today?
An AI agent can mean different things, right? The idea of agentic AI, or actually agentics, has been here for decades. I think people have talked about agents even before LLMs. But how one defines AI agents today is you've got a language model or a set of language models, and you give them a capability to autonomously or semi-autonomously decide and understand a goal or request, and then it would complete that request or goal based on the tools that it has. So it becomes agentic because it can perform a task end to end if you wanted it to. Or you can have like human in the loop step in there as well.
Right.
But based on the data that it has and its understanding of the world, the knowledge base and different data sets, it would perform an action based on the tools that it can also use.
Right.
It's still glued up. It's not some sort of person that can think of a goal and then come up with different ways to solve a problem. We're not in the AGI space yet, But an agentic right now can just complete simple tasks based on how it's configured.
Give us an example of maybe one of your most common AI agents that your customers and you're providing and that there's a demand for.
So our platform is a builder platform. So you have a use case, like for example, you're an agency or a consultant, and you've got a portfolio of businesses that you manage. You're building agentic workflows, assistants, and agents to multiply yourself, and you can then have more clients, or you build these systems for your clients. So those are the most popular use cases. If you either strategists or content creation AI, or you can have like a customer service is my favorite one because it manages 50% of our support tickets. So we have an autonomous agent on our platform that just understands a query and can onboard a customer and can demo the platform through conversation. Like, this is what you do first and this is what you do next. It's amazing because it manages a lot of people asking us, how do you do something? Which is incredible because before you would have to have an entire team that would do that for you. And now there's me and the AI doing it. Another favorite use case of mine, as a bootstrap founder who has very little experience of building a business. I had a 9-to-5, really good paying 9-to-5 before. What I quickly learned is I need to understand finance, which I didn't. So I had someone build a P&L framework, which I fed to an AI, and then I asked it questions about my P&L.
Okay, cool. Which at the moment is at the root cause of many studies, whether AI makes you smarter or it starts to drill down and actually starts to kill off some of those neurons that we might yet be stimulating. Sure. I think it's MIT, isn't it? They've just done a recent study, and they're suggesting that the brain is being heavily kind of influenced by the use of GPT.
Yeah. So was TV. In the 90s, like, oh, my mom was like, you watch too much TV. Your brain cells are dead. And then the phone. Your brain cells, gaming, I gamed. Yes. Your brain cells are dead. If you're not using your brain, it's going to die. And if you're just letting things do the thinking for you, everything, you're definitely going to get stupid. If you're not going to use that muscle, it's not going to work.
What I'm really interested in understanding your view on the impact of that and where you see we're heading.
I'm actually making a big bet that most of us, if not all of us, have the capability now to become entrepreneurs. And what I'm betting on is that there will be ecosystems and marketplaces of AI agents that will monetize for us. So we are the orchestrators of these agents that will make money for us as the entrepreneur. And that's what I'm betting on. How far we are from that, we're a build away.
Build away. What do you mean by that?
I'm building that marketplace where agents can make money for you.
And so your vision of that is the fact that anyone can create an agent and monetize it.
Correct. This is my big bet, and this is the positive impact of what that can mean for us. If businesses will use agents as employees, and if we can't make money because we're no longer employees, or how will we make money? We'll have to become entrepreneurial. Now, there are many ways to become an entrepreneur today, right? But in a world where things are going to be run by agents, the agent will have to make money for you.
For sure, there's less than 1% of the available tasks to be automated have been automated. So we're right at the start. There's 99.9% of available automation that needs to be automated.
Automation has existed for a long time.
Yes.
Things have been automated for a while. Certain tasks that Excel killed when it came out that a lot of people did back then. Like, I remember my mom like calculating like mad with a calculator, for example. And now everyone's got spreadsheets. Xero has automated a lot of these tasks even before LLMs did. Things have been automated and careers have changed.
Yes.
So, it's just speeding up because of the power to, I guess, use these LLMs. It's the LLMs, and it's kind of sped up the whole automation. But automation has existed for a while.
The infrastructure has existed. The intelligence hasn't. the access to the intelligence to automate those
The
systems.
speed of the intelligence. Yeah, because before we had to configure the rules ourselves for that automation, right?
Yes.
And now you've got like a big brain that's not just configured by a team of 10 engineers. Now you've got like this LLM
Yes.
or a set of LLMs that you can put together and get them to work together.
Agents are effectively creating the infrastructure to enable the framework for intelligence to be able to execute tasks in a structured or intelligent, or they're providing the guardrails really for intelligence to be able to execute tasks and work.
There's a book called Prediction Machines, which are what AI really is designed for. Better prediction, because it's built on so much data. It understands. It uses historical data. It uses a lot of data to predict, for example, with LLMs, predict the next word, autocomplete. Yeah. And you're essentially using these prediction machines to make fast decisions for you. So yeah, in a sense, you can say that is a form of intelligence.
I mean, look, we've got to be careful what we think intelligence is, isn't
Yeah.
it? Because fundamentally, intelligence is just making good decisions. And so if you have enough data to be able to work out right from wrong and be able to take the next step in a process and learn from it, you've effectively got intelligence, an intelligent loop.
Yeah, arguably, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. There are different levels of intelligence,
Yeah.
right? There are different levels.
Different ways of defining intelligence.
Yes.
But as we define it now, like I've been saying this line for the past couple of years, since the Industrial Revolution, we've defined human success based on how intelligent we are, like Einstein intelligent, like good at maths or good at physics, or how powerful and successful we are, like how much money do we have or how much power do we have to influence. The other thing is productivity, like how much can we produce, how much can we work, because the byproduct of being able to work hard is money and power. So those were the measurements of, how successful of a human you are, or how good of a human you are. But then now with AI, when it's promising to be, as Sam Altman would say, 5 PhDs in your pocket, which GPT-5 isn't, I think. But, it is pretty clever. And it can, and, you've got like robots as well that can produce a lot. And these automations that can make fast decisions and can do a lot of your stuff. What does it mean to be human? And if intelligence was a human thing, if that's taken away as to how we understood that, or like, does that mean we're not intelligent in different ways? I don't know. I think it's an interesting question.
The work that's done by humans today, a big chunk of it, probably the majority of it, doesn't require exceptional intelligence. Actually, the bar of intelligence has probably already been passed by AI in order for it to execute that type of work. It's now just about the infrastructure and the tools to leverage the intelligence that's available in order for it to start to replace the work we do.
I think that's an interesting point, and there's truth in that. But this is what I advocate for anyway, is that we have, because of these tools, we now are in a space where we can become entrepreneurial and actual real problem solvers. So before these tools anyway, and there are many ways that you would have been entrepreneurial without AI and solve problems. Like if you don't have money, go put up a lemonade stand or something. Or if you want to learn how to put up a business, start small and maybe start with a community. I don't know, or make food and see if you can sell the cupcakes and cookies or whatever. Right? You can become entrepreneurial. Before, historically, people were asked to stay in their lane and to just perform a simple task, and you would generate income from it, like a salary. Like you do this every day, you log data or whatever, answer the call, and you get paid. But the amazing thing about AI is you can become entrepreneurial and solve a problem or a problem set by yourself proactively, because you're using AI as a teammate or a toolkit where you could say, I need to make money. hey, ChatGPT, these are my skills. How do you think can I make money? Or if you're working for a company, hey, ChatGPT, I'm really bored with logging data all day. Are there any tools or tricks that you can show me that I can build and that'll do the work for me? And then I go to my boss and say, hey, boss, I've just made myself redundant. I need a raise, or you got to promote me and I'll build more solutions. So yes, those tasks, those small tasks that we were forced to do because they had to be done, or can be redundant. But it also elevates. AI also has elevated us because it's allowed us to become entrepreneurial and become problem solvers.
Yes. It's going to create available time. And that fork in the road is, does it make us redundant, or does it empower us to solve new problems? And I had a fantastic conversation with a guy called Novo Conster, who is one of the senior leaders, director, I think he's chief exec of one of the parts of the group of the Indeed group for the jobs, Indeed jobs. Huge business, great guy, super entrepreneurial, really smart. They've implemented AI and it's reduced their workforce marginally. However, it's actually increased their productivity significantly. And with that gain in available time, they haven't reduced their headcount. They've actually started to look at how they can innovate and provide new services, improve what they do. And I keep referencing that example because I think it's really fascinating that you're absolutely right. There is a fork in the road where I believe that companies will start to find new problems to solve. And what that happen, I don't know whether you see the same thing, but where I see that happening is that changes the competitive landscape for organizations. It means that if Indeed innovate and provide a new service for the way that they supply employees or find jobs, that everyone else in the sector needs to do it, to follow, to compete, to improve. And so it's competition, innovation and competition actually is what drives growth.
Yeah, I think that's also an interesting point. Like, because of AI and the speed of figuring things out, how to build something, the market has become extremely competitive. Anyone can build, a version of an existing product and disrupt it, in theory.
Yes.
You're just a funding away or something, right? Or you could build it and see if you can grow it. So in some ways, I think that innovation is no longer a competitive edge. I think it's brand and connection and relationships that becomes the competitive edge. Because if everyone can afford to pay for the innovation, copy it because of AI, produce as much, do as much, what's your competitive edge?
Community, brand, absolutely critical.
Exactly.
Agreed with that. However, you still need to be solving those problems, don't you?
That's given that because we've got the tools, everyone will be solving the same problems at the same speed because the technology is there.
Yes.
So you're no longer innovating new ways to solve problems. You just we've got ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini. How are they competing against each other? It's not. They all have powerful LLMs. What are people buying?
The brand.
The brand, the story around the brand, how they went to market, who they're targeting, their ideal customer profile, and really honing on that ideal customer profile.
Yes.
These other things that sit outside. An everyday person doesn't care how powerful an LLM is. It just has to resonate with me, and I just choose it. It's convenient. I love the experience. It's a great brand. I resonate with this brand.
I think there's some degree of truth to that. The only problem you've got with that, right, Cien, is that means that the big tech's going to win. Because if the playing field is level, they can afford to deliver these services faster, a higher level of quality, scalability, stronger brand, higher levels of safety, compliance.
For me specifically, we're a model aggregator. We have ChatGPT, Claude, Llama. We have 21 models.
Yes.
They can compete and say we have all of them. So from that perspective, not so if I were the example.
Yep.
Now, from everyday, if you were just starting.
So what you mean by that is that actually the way that you work is you give a customer the benefit of having 21 models at access.
All of them, yeah.
Yes.
So I wouldn't be able to, yes, they have all the funds, but actually we benefit from them all saying we're the best. They're just like, yeah, they're all the best. They're all right. You just use them all in my platform.
Yeah.
We've said that for decades that, oh, it's going to be the incumbents that will always win. Who is going to be the disruptor, or how will you disrupt that existing industry? That has always kind of been true, right? But not always true. Like, it's true that people talk about it and we're worried about the incumbents, and then you've got a disruptor
Yes.
changing the game. That has always been historically true. Now, the leverage here now is, let's say I am, FinTech is an example that I can talk about because I lived it as an employee. So there was traditional banking, and then people wanted a new way to do banking, and so you got these neobanks. I have like 2 bank accounts from neobanks. Like, I am a Revolut user, and I have a buy now pay later card because I used to work for buy now pay later. But like these were challengers that have been able to compete because of, most of them, really cool branding, but also they've niched on an ideal customer profile and grew from that. And I think that's also true now. But these fintech companies were funded because they needed a team to do customer research, build the app, go to market. And now you've got AI to do all of those things. Like, anyone can compete now, I think. You just go on TikTok and produce videos every day and become viral.
If the predictions are correct, and it looks like we're heading that way, what it also means that cost of goods and services is going to become much lower. Does that sit with you?
Yes. Most goods, I think. Services depends on what you define as a service. Then I think there will be some services that will become luxury, especially if if it's a human service.
Yes.
I think that's going to be expensive. But there will be services that will, like, if it's a service that can be done by a robot, sure, yeah, for sure. Like, if a machine can do it over and over again, 24/7, then yeah. But you've got like compute as well. I don't know what power is going to be like. Is energy going to be cheap? Some say yes, some say I don't know. You've got nuclear as well, and you've got quantum coming. So there's so many things and variables that can be a factor of what that future looks like. But if we say robots are going to be there doing the 24/7 service, and then you've got like robots are going to be building products, sure.
I think, yeah. I mean, I'd imagine that people will start to compete on price when they're able to leverage AI, robots, technology, infrastructure like that to deliver automated services. And the great example is Uber. Always use the same example, which the moment you remove the driver, then people will start to win that battle on price, which is the most efficient, low cost taxi service, ever. And the great benefit of that is it starts to make more services available to more people immediately. And those people maybe can't afford a car, can't afford an Uber.
Yep.
They can now afford a robo-taxi of some sort. You start to see that in parallels in other industries, and you can start to imagine a world of the basic services that you need can be delivered more cost effectively. And I'm wrong to say the word wealth. I'm glad you ironed me out on that. I absolutely mean income. And it's a fascinating conundrum. I just don't know what percentage of the world will be fixed by kind of AI entrepreneurs. It will be a channel, like you say, and there'll be an opportunity for people to monetize that. But I feel like there's going to have to be alternative economies. Do you know what I mean? Like I see, I like this concept of where we have this kind of national care service where, the NHS is now, and social care is flooded with people that kind of work, get paid by the government 3 or 4 days a week, above minimum wage. We're supplying certain services at super low costs, so that income is then supplemented by a better standard of living all round. And so an incredibly techno-optimistic view.
Utopia.
Yeah, an absolute utopia. But I do think that we'll be leaning into that. But it just, again, depends how much of those services over what period of time can be replaced or supplemented and supported by technology. What are your biggest fears?
I'm afraid of people losing interest in books. I think reading is a beautiful thing, like actual reading.
Yes.
I think I fear I fear that day coming for my nephew, for example. I wish he would like. I hope that he gets to enjoy reading as much as I did. But yeah, I'm not sure.
It's really interesting you say that. I sat down with a professor of economics from UCL, and she was saying actually the number one thing that you want your kids to do by the time they get to 11 is just to have read as much as possible. That's it. It's just reading. That's the number one skill that they will have driven, not maths, not anything else. That will actually reinforce and develop learning and give them the best infrastructure and development, neurological impact as a child. And I guess there are lots of other complementary things to that, but as the core principle, and you are right, it's going to massively impact that. Having intelligence available at fingertips means that you don't need to read a book to get to the eventual answer. You can get to it with a quick voice command.
Yeah, the experience of reading is also different. That you don't get from any other type of experience. You're using so much of your imagination when you read, and so much of that brain power when you read.
You're joining up tens of thousands of dots.
Yeah. So, we're an LLM too. We're AI. Like we've got the more data that you have in there, the more you can transform that data into something.
Yes.
But yeah.
Coming back to your point, fraud and criminal activity has always been around. The issue right now is that they've just got much more powerful tools and can do things at far greater scale.
Yeah.
The thing that worries me there is the delta between the impact that they can have with those tools and our ability for AI to create the solutions to protecting us from it. There's a gap. I believe that we will get to a place, and I think that actually, sadly, I think digital identity is going to be really key. Kind of authorization, verification.
One of my former teams used a lot of data and combined all of that data to see if someone was a real applicant or not. And today, we're thinking about agents that could verify another agent. Like there's going to be, you've got blockchain and Web3, and then you've got so many, encryption might not be a thing anymore. And when quantum comes in, but I am an optimist. I'm an innovation optimist where I'm like, we're going to come up with something.
Yes.
We're going to come up with a solution. I think that AI can help us come up with solutions quicker because we can experiment faster. So yes, those are all true. I've been scammed before. I've lost money. I've experienced bad things. I've seen bad people, but I've also seen innovation solve problems. So I'm more on the we'll come up imagine what problems we can solve.
Yeah.
Rather than I don't think. I'm aware of the implications from a negative perspective, but I'm hyper focused on what we can build to solve the problems.
Yeah. There's a massive amount of change that we have to go through to get to this world that we're talking about. And I think we're all talking about it today, but there's probably less than 1% of potential automation that's happened. And to change organizations and people and the roles, it's happening strand by strand. The issue, I think, and actually is that, and I don't know where you sit with this, but I think that the biggest threat to people's jobs is not necessarily the automation of their existing roles, but actually it's AI native businesses which start to replace incumbent organizations.
So one of the things that AI isn't really good at is being diverse, or giving diverse decision, inclusive decision. It's not very inclusive sometimes.
Right.
So you've got use cases in the medical field. They've created AI systems or AI powered technology that could ascertain if someone has lung cancer or not at the back of an X-ray. Just an X-ray, and it would say, yep, accurately could see, yep, this patient has lung cancer. But the discrepancy between the accuracy between the genders is starking. For male, highly accurate. For female, not so accurate. And that's because these systems don't have sufficient data from the female data set that it could say, with a level of accuracy, it could decide or diagnose well. And there's a lot of cases like that where for a certain type of data set, white male, for example, the accuracy of the prediction is very good. When there's not enough data set of that particular cohort, it wouldn't be as the decisions that it make or the prediction that it make, it wouldn't be as good because it just doesn't have enough data from that cohort. So I am afraid of, if we don't fix that problem, and there's going to be an alignment problem. Again, one of the books that I recommend is called The Alignment Problem. There's going to be some sort of problem because it just doesn't, it's not inclusive.
Yes. I see that as a short-term issue. I think that that's just because of the crude way the first versions of intelligence have been built. And I see it that what that's doing is that these intelligent systems are leaning into the most common solution to a specific problem. And I think that as they become more intelligent and truth-seeking, which seems to be, the goal of all of these, that they will be able to decipher the right solution in the right cohort. Does that make sense? Like, I think that it'll be able to discern between the cohorts much more meticulously.
If it doesn't have enough data to make that prediction as good as it can be, it won't be able to make that prediction well.
Give me an example then. Just help me understand, why would it not have enough data? I understand it would have more data on one cohort than another. Okay. But as it becomes more intelligent, do you not think that there is enough data in these other cohorts when it's able to discern between them?
Give you a real world example. If you take out your phone right now, open ChatGPT or open Gemini, and say, generate an image of a CEO, I'm 99% sure it's going to be male. If you say, generate an image of a teacher or maybe a nurse, I'm pretty sure it's going to be female. Or if you're going to ask it to generate an image of a criminal, it'll be interesting to see what that looks like. That looked like very different a year ago as well. They had to build hard code so that it's not very discriminatory. And there's an AI. There's so many use cases like these. Like in the States during the pandemic, they developed this application where you just take a picture of your skin. If there's discoloration, you send it, and AI processes it. If you're light skin colored, the system would be able to accurately detect if you've got diabetes or not, and then say, okay, you need to see a doctor. But then if you're dark skinned, there was a big discrepancy on how it was able to detect diabetes on darker skinned people. And so a lot of darker skin color people during the time during the pandemic wasn't seen by a doctor, and the system failed them. There's so many. My favorite one is Apple Pay or Apple Card or something, Apple Wallet. In 2020 there was a married couple, male and female, who applied for credit, and they lived in the same house for the last 10 years. And they lived in the same address for the past 10 years. Salary was the same. When they applied for credit, the man got like 50% more credit or something ridiculous like that. And the female got less. What was the difference?
Yes.
Right? If you scale and you validate the decision that it makes now, so AI learns by reinforcement learning. If you keep reinforcing that and you don't fix it, the decisions that it makes right now are being reinforced. Why will it change?
I've no doubt that those biases are absolutely existing today.
100%.
But I don't see that it doesn't have the ability to see beyond that. The value of the data that it's processing, I believe there are problems that it will solve because of the scale of the opportunity that AI has to have on humanity. So these are problems that they know they solve. They own the entire the future of humanity and the future of industry and the future. So I just don't see them as problems they can't solve. That's the key. The bounty's too big.
I think that's a really optimistic view. I'm an optimist as well, but like,
Yes.
With the mention of synthetic data, if you're synthesizing the same type of data, how will it diversify data sets? It's not. There was an Amazon recruitment platform. I love using this example where they removed all the names and mentions of gender in the application form. They used this AI to sieve through applications for a software development role. And in the applications, they removed the names, removed any kind of like gender identifiers, and still the AI rejected all female applicants.
Yeah.
Because if you're gonna say historically, this is what a good software developer looks like, and it looks at CVs that don't look like that, it's gonna decide it's bad. And what's good is what looks like this.
Yeah. I totally see that in the job market, 100%. I think you're right. What you're effectively saying there is the fact that because of its huge data sets, it's doesn't need to be told that this particular profile is male. It will discern that from the way that it's written, the data that's available to it.
Activities. You know what gave it away?
Yeah.
If someone played volleyball.
Yeah.
If someone like that is so.
Yes.
Yeah. Just because of
nuances.
Those. Yeah.
Yeah, and I totally understand that. But I just don't see those as problems that they won't solve. I think that the rate of intelligence is so fastly evolving. And let's just say that we're on the edge of PhD.
You're right. But the question is who it solves for. That's where the discrimination and the fear comes from.
Right.
It will solve problems. Now, I'm an optimist. Like, I'm excited. I just said, like, I love that it can solve problems. But whose problems is it going to solve is the bigger question.
Help me understand that. Explain that.
So, that Amazon role, for example, a male and a female wants to find a job. No matter how better or more experienced the female is, if we use that tool, that female won't get accepted. It's just going to be male.
That example you're talking about there is when we had kind of graduate level, college, school leaver kind of level of intelligence, right? When you get to PhD level intelligence or even greater, it will be able to identify much more kind of scientific analysis and the semantics of the experience, the combinations of experiences that will be right for that role. You don't think so?
No, it's proven. It's proven even up till now, like because AI is powered by data.
Yep.
And we're synthesizing data right now, and we're not collecting data sets for it to being diverse. It's just going to be powered by the same type of data. So how can you say, can you include this data set if it doesn't have that data? It won't understand.
But hold on a second. That's just not. That's a fallacy, really, because it's getting smarter today off of the same data.
Take out your phone. Ask it to generate an image of a CEO.
Its level of intelligence is what is going to give its ability to solve those problems.
It can say good or bad, but for a particular data set.
But why are you isolating that decision around race or sex, when all other benchmarks it is making better decisions? Sure, you're not going to argue with the fact that from an intelligence perspective, the benchmarking is improving. It is becoming more intelligent.
Yeah, again, you're putting everything all at once you're putting all of these categories. If it's intelligent, it can't be biased. There are so many intelligent people out there that are biased.
Yes.
Right? And yes, it can make smart decisions, but not for everyone. So my fear is because it doesn't have enough, for example, there is actually, they POC'd this in Leeds 2 years ago, and I'm pretty sure they rolled this out in the NHS, and they were trialing it in the NHS 2.5 years ago, where they would just take a blood sample, and they would use this blood sample to diagnose if someone has like level 1 or level 5 cancer, and that would usually take like months. They could make a decision in 5 days.
Yep.
Now, this is used in the NHS, and imagine like the blood samples and the data that they have, where they come from. I actually asked the founder, is like, well, how diverse is that blood type, the blood sample? So my fear is, if I'm, as a Filipino woman who's not well represented in these data sets, I go to the hospital, they take my blood test, AI says, you're fine. I die next week because AI wasn't able to, it didn't have enough data set to actually see and make the right diagnosis for me.
Yeah.
Because but for everyone else, or for a specific data set where it has like loads of data, because it understands that blood sample so well and it's got so much data, it's able to make really good decisions for that
Yeah.
cohort. But what about me? Or or what if in the justice system, right? You've got data sets of what a criminal looks like and what a criminal doesn't look like. Now, someone, and there's actually a case study on this where in the States they have this like AI that at the back of a picture, it would rate whether they're likely to do crime again or not.
Right.
And there's discrimination there as well. And there's loads of data, yes, but not enough it's skewed in the wrong way. So no. It is intelligent. Like, I'm not saying it's stupid because it can make it makes wrong decisions. It makes better decisions, but for a specific data set, not necessarily all.
Yes.
For all.
And I agree with you that it's absolutely the right fear to have. So equality, truth-seeking AI should absolutely be the utopia, shouldn't it? Where I'm coming at from is that I believe that if it's able, to provide intelligence to identify between less common cancers and very common cancers, right? Even though the data set's much, much smaller, I'm hopeful that it'll be able to apply similar levels of equality in its decision making. I'm hopeful.
Yeah, but historically it hasn't.
No, agreed. Yeah. Oh, yeah, 100%. We're aligned there.
Yeah.
I've seen those. I've paid a lot of attention to it. The Amazon situation was really, really interesting. And actually, what's fascinating is that for that very reason, it's an opportunity for small players, small companies, because if you look at the people, HR, assessment, job profiling, job platforms, the big players can't use AI the same way that a small player can, because the moment that Indeed or LinkedIn start to apply AI and then it gets shown to have a bias, it compromises their brand massively. And so they've got to take these tiny little baby steps, and it means that their experimentation is slowed up, their innovation. And whereas smaller players, and I've seen it with a friend of mine, which is using an assessment profile of assessing the right candidates dynamically using AI, and you look at it, you think, why the bloody hell has Indeed not deployed this, or why have LinkedIn not deployed it? But actually, it's the risk to their much larger organisations. Their number one challenge is absolute bias. Mm-hmm. So I'm totally aligned with that. I think my point was just that I believe it's a problem that will be solved. You're saying it's a bigger problem than I think, because 100%. The data sets are driving it.
The proof and how AI works right now, it's not built for that vision. How they learn,
yes,
how their LLMs are trained, especially with synthesized data, it doesn't add up. But maybe they'll come up with a different way that doesn't exist yet, because yes, AI is getting more intelligent, but again, for what type of decisions it makes. So yeah.
Just paint a picture of how you would like to see the world with AI in it 5 or 10 years from now.
I think that everyone has the opportunity to, similarly to how everyone now has the opportunity to be a creator on social media, everyone can become an AI agent entrepreneur, and they can launch these agents that would work with other agents and make money for them.
Amazing. Launch Lemonade.
Yeah.
There you go. It's agreed. And I think for me, that's an opportunity that's going to exist for the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years for sure, because there's just a huge amount of change that needs to happen. The opportunity for individuals and organizations to deploy agents to improve the performance of their business, to free up time, hopefully to innovate, come up with rather than to release people, will be huge. I totally advocate for that. From a philosophical view, do you have a kind of even longer term view of how that might shape humanity and how it might change us?
I love art. And I think, I'm excited for that future where it becomes the thing. I mean, I think we're at every risk of kind of like having to lock ourselves. There's a loneliness epidemic. Everyone is like on their computers, on their phones. But my idea of the future is I'm on like this, like this Greek kind of way of living where you're talking about politics and ideas in a different way, and you're being human in a way that we don't get to experience right now. You're looking at art, you're enjoying art, you're making something that you're feeling every time you build something. I think that future is exciting.
Yeah. For those people that maybe have taken 3 months or have been forced to take off 3 months off work, it's very easy to become very busy when you're not working. It's not a problem. People are worried about this sense of loss of purpose, and I think that people are going to love having much more free time on their hands.
100%.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's free time. We think it's free time now, but it doesn't have to be free time.
Yes. Well, it's time to make different choices. But it's an interesting one, isn't it? I do see the stepping stone to that as being a shorter working week. Do you see that? Do you see that people start to work shorter weeks?
Oh yeah, I one of the companies that I consult in have 4-day weeks.
Yeah, and that was proven by Microsoft in Japan a few years ago, wasn't it? That they were able to sustain the same levels of productivity in a 4-day working week. So it's hope for us all.
Yeah. I work 7 days a week, so.
Cool. Well, look, lovely to meet you. Thank you for taking the time out. It's been fascinating. And if anyone wants to contact you, get hold of you, how do they do it?
LinkedIn, launchlemonade.app, and ciensolon.com. That's it.
Great. Well, thank you for coming along. It's been a real pleasure. I'm looking forward to tracking the journey, and maybe we can catch up again in the coming weeks or months.
Thank you for having me.
Great. Thanks, Cien.